Hello and welcome to the Legends of Tabletop podcast. We are finally, in real time, we are an hour behind in our scheduled session for tonight, but we are finally getting ready to play Deadlands tonight. I'm going to kick it over to our old-timey narrator to get a recap from last session, and we'll jump into tonight.
Our unwitting crew and supposes R&R / hacking job ran into a possessed doctor, or maybe just corrupted. Now they've cleaned up that mess. We're way back home. Figure out what's next. Unwitting power.
Okay. It wasn't as tight as usual. It's okay. I don't know. I don't have a full. We're not monster of the week this week, guys.
You're just as a FYI, your volume is low, so I don't know if when you switch, if it messes with your volume.
Maybe. Is this better? No.
Pull the mic closer.
I don't know, man. I'm like, about that. No.
That's fine. We'll make it work.
Wait, hold on. Here we go.
We'll fix it in post.
Fix it in post. John, do some editing for once. I know. I don't know. Anyway. All right. Yeah. So last episode, you were fighting a cultist doctor who had some horrifying experiments, theoretically in some pursuit of, stopping death or reversing death. He met his end. You guys have succeeded. Everything seems fairly safe. The only survivors, so the farmer and his son, the two other research assistants, and I think someone else died. I don't know. There's a whole tally. But Matthew, the migrant worker who the farmer thought was a murderer / maybe is, I guess, had burned down some house. He said that these cultists were doing crazy stuff. Turns out there were cultists. The doctor was the head of it. And mission accomplished there, but you pack up the stuff. Everyone's pretty shaken. And I would say, theoretically, you're on your way back to headquarters once that's all packed up. And if you wanted to do any debrief with Sadie or anyone else, I mean, mostly it's just, I assume you'd calm everyone down and say, like, hey, this is whatever. We could have a conversation way back on the train. You could investigate the house if you want. It's totally up to you guys.
So are we next morning then?
Yeah, I would say next morning. Let's say next morning.
Right. Well, what do you guys think? We gotta. I mean, I suppose we gotta still pack up the rest of this stuff on the train. Do we want to? We'll assume everything played out at the house okay, or you want to take a horse out there and check it out?
Well, how long are we thinking that it's a ride out there for? What, it's maybe an hour or so?
Yeah, it's not long. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want, a couple of us could stay back here and pack up, and a couple of us could take a quick ride out, just double check, make sure there's nothing sprouting up out of the ground.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine by me. We want to split up like that. I come back if finish packing up and leave this afternoon, maybe. The train was supposed to come back today, I believe, right?
I mean, how many people do we have are left here? Like at the research?
Just
one. Oh, sorry. I know that was meter. I'm sorry. Just one.
Well, I mean, just Sadie and that young fella.
I mean, if there's more trouble out here than what we just dealt with, I mean, it can't be that much, right? Like, this had to be the problem.
I mean, I would like to hope so.
Well, I'm assuming too that if we can believe what they said and everything kind of got burnt down to a crisp, then, and if they if them three are the only ones that really came back, then I guess maybe there's nothing back there to worry about, so long as everybody in that house actually got taken care of.
What say you, Cyrus?
I mean, I don't mind checking out the house if we want to be completely sure. But if I'm being honest, I also don't really feel like loading up no goddamn train.
You were a little salty about the whole train business when we got here.
This is a bullshit mission.
Well, we were being penalized to some extent for losing the precious cargo the last time.
Bullshit.
Right?
Well,
It's
again,
also-
not that we lost them, as we found out later.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
which makes me even less inclined to investigate a problem that probably isn't a problem. I'm all for packing what they need and getting back, and then they can send some other bunch of new recruits out here to scrounge whatever needs to be looked at.
yeah, I'll go along with whatever. I mean, that was a hell of an experience down there in that little cave down there. So I don't really feel like risking any more of Lester's sanity, as it were. But if someone felt like going for a ride out to that house, I would go out and check it out with them.
Well, how about this? How about Jacob and Cyrus and I go ahead and take a quick little ride out, and you two big brawny men there stay back and start packing the rest up.
Strapping lads as you are.
That sounds good. We'll
Go ahead, Jonathan. I didn't mean to try to cut you off or nothing.
no, I was just agreeing. We'll find those other two that are here and see if they can be any help.
We might want to ask her if they got any horses still around to make that journey. We might not be able to even go out to the house without a horse.
You would have the farmer rode in on 3.
But he
horses,
left.
so-
Him and his son left last night.
Oh, I thought they died. Okay, that's why they're. Yeah, okay, they left. I forgot. I was.
Wait,
So yeah, they wouldn't have. Yeah, you would have. Yeah, I assume. If you ask Sadie, she says she thinks the horses they were there yesterday. You were supposed to load them on. They have 2 horses.
so there are
They're
2
also
horses.
they're supposed to go on to train cars also. So
Well, we
just
would have
so you
loaded
know,
them
we're not
last, right?
We're
Yeah,
not
yeah, of
leaving
course.
them to die. So
Yeah.
you are taking them with you. Just I don't want anyone to think I'm being crazy. Like you're going to take the livestock too, but you do have them available until you want to load them on the train. Which it's its own car. It's fine.
All right, so we
So
do
yes.
have 2 horses, so we're
You
good.
have 2 horses.
I guess it's a good thing there's only 2 of you going. Seems to work out.
All right.
I
then.
wouldn't have given you more than 2 anyway. God damn it.
No.
I mean, all right, then I guess that settles that. We'll be ready to get out of here by the time you get back.
Okay. Sadie is already. She seems flustered, like she's working, like she's really trying to just focus on getting everything packed as fast as possible. And she has Matthew helping. She seems a little snippy when she seemed pretty jovial when you first met. And now she seems very much like, I just want to get out of here, and is, sort of being very put this here, do this now, don't waste time. And, she's sort of as soon as you walk, she's like, there's boxes to pack in there, and make sure all of these files go, and the train will be here any minute. And then she just starts packing.
Man, that's exactly the kind of conversations I don't want to have right now.
Yeah.
Talk about files. Shit.
Well, look, the train's not going to leave without us. The train brought us here to take us back. So, I mean, if it takes us all day to pack, then they'll just have to wait. He's got
I don't
nowhere
want
else
to be
to
here
be.
at nighttime. I can't spend another night in this place.
Well, I
Did you
don't
see
disagree
those
on
things?
that. Yes, ma'am, we did.
Yeah, they're all dead, though. You know, it's fine.
How are you so? What? I mean, I'm a woman of science. What?
Well, you got all kinds of evidence that all the monsters are dead. So
Evidence that we didn't have a base. There's no basement anymore. What do you mean evidence? Well, you just walked a place that didn't exist.
was there a basement to begin with? Now that's the real question.
Savvy.
No. I told you there's no basement. This is the desert. We don't have those. That may be geographically incorrect. You can edit that out, John.
We don't have basements. Boy,
I
you pay
didn't-
a lot of money to get a basement out here. Yeah.
I was pretty sure in sand you don't get basements.
Well, not only that, the whatever.
Yeah,
There's
water table.
caliche,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like it's a nightmare to dig.
Yeah.
Caliche
Anyway,
crime
you don't
family?
want it, man.
Not a crime
Anyway.
family.
Oh,
They did not.
Really
they
hard
did
dirt.
not have. Oh, okay. So yeah, they don't. She's like there was. She literally like is just. Yeah, she basically is shaken. I mean, shaken.
she's
I
all
guess.
shaken up. I'm good with that. If
So she's just
Cyrus
packing.
starts saddling
She's
up.
just packing furiously.
Uh,
Matthew seems like he's just keeping his head down and packing.
Yeah, I mean Lester would move boxes. I mean, there's no
Yeah.
point in like trying to explain or argue the point, right? Like they're the research arm of the organization, so like they've got minimal exposure. I'm assuming.
Yes,
like Lester's
exactly.
assuming. Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
So
that
it's
would be
just
your
not-
impression. Is that they're like, imagine the first time you see a monster, and you
Yeah.
not only that you're working for an organization that's actually sort of investigating it, but you think like, oh, all of this stuff has explanations or whatever, and then it's like your fucking doctor has a book that fucking channels death's power, and you're like, what the fuck? And there's a basement that doesn't exist? I don't understand what's happening. And so yeah, she's kind of just like, I don't want to be here anymore, and I want to get to Denver now. Which sponsored by the Denver Board of Terrorism. But we're happy to be. I'll promote Denver all day. It sounds like a fantastic town. Never been there.
It's a fine town, city.
There we
whatever
go.
the fuck.
It's a safe town, and you should never fear in Denver. It's the lowest fear level in all the land.
Nah.
It's pretty low comparative. Yeah. So yeah, Matthew's kind of just packing stuff up. The train comes in, and you start loading boxes and being as efficient as possible. Cyrus and Jacob ride out to the farm. It's a pretty uneventful ride. It's an hour. The sun's. It's actually you go pretty early. You get a pretty early start, so it's not like beating heat or anything. It's fine, and you make it to like in the distance before you even get it to the homestead. You still see sort of some smoke. It's like that really light. It's just sort of just smoldering. Still, as you ride up on the site, yeah, there looks to be a burned homestead.
We knew that was burned, right?
Yeah, we did. Don't worry.
Fine.
Yeah, it's still sort of smoldering a bit. There's a barn. There's some equipment lying about, like farming stuff. It's a working farm. And, yeah.
Yeah. Cyrus ties the horse up and starts walking around.
Okay.
Yeah, same. Just kind of walk around, make sure there's no. Look for any tracks, like either people leaving or like ash footprints leaving the area
Okay.
or anything like that. You know.
Oh, sure. Give me a notice check. I think notice is this system.
Jake,
That
have you
makes
got
sense.
any like extra sensory perception-y type things to go along with all this? And he kind of just like shakes his hands around at you, all this stuff going on.
Well, unfortunately, all this did was just make me a little bit better at using these. And he points at the guns.
All right, well, that's useful too.
Oh, nope, that's a 2.
Can I make a
Okay.
notice roll too? Can I do?
Yeah.
Can I do notice rolls?
Yeah. You can, for sure. If you don't have the skill at all, it's a -2.
I have.
Could he
it.
make a survival roll if he's looking for like tracks?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you're
Yeah.
looking for tracks,
I'm
yeah.
looking
If you
for
actually
stuff.
have that
Oh,
skill,
okay. Then I'll do
Yeah.
that.
survival would
Thank
be
you,
looking
John. I
for
should have
tracks.
asked it that way. Okay, and I'm not even going to ask. I know that I roll a d6 with the d8. So
There you
I'm
go.
not even going to ask.
Nailed it.
Oh, 12.
Yeah, it seems to be okay for a very, an average tracker would just be like, yeah, some people were here. There was some sort of kerfuffle. But the farmer said that the farmer and his son rode there after they saw the smoke last night in the fire, and they found the migrant worker. So the story was migrant worker, right, was found. He was burning the house and getting ready to burn the barn. And then they look in the barn and it's a bunch of mutilated people. And they were like, this guy killed all these people and this family and burned them. And he was trying to burn the evidence. And then you guys intervened. So that was, and then Matthew had said, no, they were being weird and they were doing some sort of weird rituals. And it was and he saw monsters. He did say he saw monsters and then wanted to get rid of them. And so he burned them because,
That's what you do. You burn monsters.
It was like the thing that you fought that the nurse turned into. There were those things. And so he's like, burn that.
Yep.
As you do monsters. So it's up to you whether you would, at this point, whether your question would be like, no, that's normal. Like, I burned that house too. Monsters exist, but the farmer doesn't know that, right? So, yes. So
that's after roll. That's like, yes, everything
but
they said.
you
happened.
see, like, it checks out. There was like a scuffle. I will say you see some. I mean, obviously, there's like there is some tracks going to the barn. It smells awful when you get close to the barn.
Yeah, I'm going.
And
I'm
you
checking it out.
do see some tracks that look like just walking, into sort of into the fields, like a corn field, and yeah, you see like, oh, there's some tracks that went that way, and they look like they were walking. They look relatively fresh.
Yeah, all this looks right, Jacob. That smell, this is fine. But look at those tracks over there, walking off into the field there. That's fresh.
We sure that's right then?
I mean, he burnt the place down, right? I mean, all of that looks consistent except for them tracks over there.
Well, what, you think we might want to check that out then?
I'm gonna follow the tracks.
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
All right, you follow those tracks into the cornfield. You notice, like very cleanly, it's sort of like someone cleanly macheted a path into this cornfield, and you get to what looks to be a circle cut into the field, and a circle of bodies that are wearing like an outfit that I think people looked outside at one point and saw them outside. There was sort of people outside the research facility that were sort of potentially in cahoots, or they said they saw, like, theoretically you said they saw those people. They all look to be dead though. No blood though.
Well, that's something. probably get down and take a closer look.
Yeah, I'll kind of toe kick a couple of the bodies.
Kind of poking them.
Give me Cyrus. Give me a fear roll
I'd love to do this.
as you.
How do I do
lift
that?
Up, you
Spirit?
lift up spirit. Yes. And you lift up one and like look at the body.
Ooh. 10.
Okay.
Exploding.
Pretty hard. It doesn't particularly bother. Like you look, the body looks to be sort of a dead body, or it looks like a more human but still very mutated, deformed body, similar to the nurse that sort of got converted. It looks like it looks and smells like it has decayed extra rapidly. Like it was. And all of them are rotting just husks at this point.
Oh, jeez. They came out here to die, I guess.
I haven't done just much studying in the medical field, but I can tell that this definitely ain't natural.
Oh, these are unnatural deaths. How many bodies in total did you say?
6.
So when he burnt down the house, he was saying it was because there were monsters in the house. So are these the monsters? So he burnt down the house and they got out?
I don't know. I mean, they don't look very tarnished or nothing.
Yeah, it looks like they just fell over and died, but rotted extra fast. And are mutated.
Well, Cyrus takes a picture for the files.
Is there anything...
Awesome.
Yeah.
Could I potentially check occult to see if anything like this maybe rings a bell?
Yeah, sure. That's fair.
Ooh, double 5s.
Ooh. It would make sense. So piecing it together, you would say, yeah, if this was some sort of death cult, likely some sort of, something was, repelling, death once it's uncorrupted, it's no longer corrupting those bodies or people. It sort of, fast forwards through. So they were probably bodies of people who, because he was saying he was trying to bring his daughter back, and so they were sort of these semi-mutated bodies or fairly mutated bodies that theoretically were reanimated in some way, just not as quite as horrifically as the others. And then they sort of rot faster because of that.
Yep.
It's very disgusting, though.
Yeah.
Lester wouldn't have taken this too well.
I definitely do think that it is probably best that Lester and the city boy stayed backhand.
Yeah, I mean, they're dead. I mean, what do you...
They're deader than dead. They're double dead at this point.
Yeah.
Well, at the very least, we, done right by taking some notes on it.
Yeah, we found them. Here they are. Whoever they are.
Well, I don't think there's much doing for us around here anymore.
No, I mean, that's probably it, right? It's got to be it. There's no other tracks leading out of this particular clearing.
Give me a notice check. Or a survival check, sorry.
Survival. Let's just do that. Oh, that one's 4.
Nope, no other tracks leading out.
All right.
I guess
Also, they
all
did seem
kinda
to have
just
actually
mocked
cut
them.
their way here for some reason. Like,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
realize
there
it is a like
machete?
crop circle cut. They didn't like they actually cut like it was like some ritualistic death,
Yeah.
and then that's it. Then there's just no other way. You would have noticed probably corn stalks being pushed over or broken otherwise,
Yeah.
but no, it looks like they just walked here and died for some reason.
Wonder if they were trying to do some kind of unnatural summoning or something, and they just weren't able to complete the ritual.
I mean, how would we even? Can we tell if they did complete the ritual, and now there's something else walking around? We can't tell that.
I guess we can't necessarily tell that now, can we?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, all the more reason to come back when something does happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, it stinks out here too. This is gnarly.
Does it?
At this rate, Jacob is going to contribute greatly to each region's fear level.
All right.
I'm not sure we can't say another even more powerful horrible monster weren't summoned. You're like, that's not helping, man.
Just your presence in the region changes. the fear.
Right, yeah, exactly. Just me arriving
Yeah.
to a new region ups the fear level.
That is true. You are off-putting. So
Yeah.
Well, I'm not scared of you, Jacob. Don't worry about that.
I'm not worried about that too much, Cyrus.
He's gonna be like the priest in 30 coins. After he comes back from the dead with all the fucking pancake makeup on.
Well, what do you think? You think they got the train loaded up?
Oh God, I hope. I don't want to lift any boxes.
I mean, maybe there's some more, like, we could check out some more area around the area over here. Maybe.
To be fully honest, I'm really surprised they let us leave and do this in the first place.
I know, right? Like, this
Ow.
wasn't. Hey, man, we found this little area over here. I mean, that's something.
That is
We
a
can at
very
least
good
bring
point.
that back.
All right, I
we're
guess
just
we
we're just
should head
standing in the
back.
clear. We're standing there like, what else?
Stand there.
what else? What else? What else?
else?
What else?
Oh,
Should
dude,
we
Cyrus
burn
is
the
there
barn?
with like
we
he's
could
got
burn
like a
the
handkerchief
barn.
over his
Yeah.
face so he can actually breathe a little.
Yeah.
We could go.
Jacob's
talk to
like,
the
it doesn't
other-
smell-
the
nothing smells
I
out
guess
here
the
for me,
other
it's fine.
farmer's still alive. The other farmer is alive. He and his son rode home, so you could go talk to him if you want. He is the neighboring farm, so you could also go fuck off with him if you really want.
Do we want to go talk to that guy and whatever? I mean, maybe we should. Lester's right. Should we like burn these bodies?
Lester looks up.
Yeah,
Jonathan, you hear that? Felt like a duck just walked over my grave.
Crazy.
I just said
the least
duck to
weird
go-
thing we've dealt with here.
Right.
I mean, I suppose that might be true.
Jacob probably wouldn't think about that. So
Yeah,
Being
I don't know
dead
that
now.
Cyrus would actually think about it either. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
probably light a cigarette and just kind of stare at it for a little while.
Yeah, sure. I mean, no one looked in it. Just like I said,
What,
it
in a body?
existed.
In the
No,
barn.
at the barn.
in the barn.
Like no one's actually looked in. I said there is a barn, and it smelled, but you didn't.
All right.
Look in.
Well, yeah, we're looking around. I mean, I
I thought the barn,
Yeah,
like,
when I went
burnt
up to the
down.
barn, it was because of the
No,
smell.
no,
I
no. The
would- I
barn
would've-
still stands.
Yeah,
Oh,
we go in the barn. Like, absolutely. Cyrus goes into the barn. He
Oh, yeah.
always will go into the barn.
Okay, give me another fear. Actually, at this point, I need a Constitution check is. That
I'll
would
roll
Vigor?
all of it.
Vigor,
be
probably.
vigor. Yeah,
Constitution
give me a
check?
vigor roll.
Oh,
4.
vigor.
Does he get a
Or
bonus? I mean, he's dead. Does he even smell anything?
5 total.
Actually-
for Cyrus.
Okay. Actually, yeah, I'm not sure a Herod would mind because you are dead and
I,
you're rotting.
I'm smelling myself, basically.
Exactly. At this point, though, like
Right?
this is like Cyrus is definitely off put by this. Like it's the scene that the farmer described, but it's a bunch of mutilated bodies. Some of them are like sewn together, and there's weird like experiment type stuff. It's very grotesque, but you're like,
Yeah.
whoa. But then you don't throw up. You're fine.
I mean,
Caught
to be
it.
fair,
Saved
we
it.
did just come from hell where there's skinless people like running
Exactly,
around
right? Like
Yeah.
people were like, yeah, mashing their heads into nothingness. And so, yeah,
Right.
like it was really fucked up. So you're kind of
This is
like,
fine.
yeah, man, this is fine today. I don't care. And so it doesn't bother you, but yeah, it looks like there's all this stuff. The guy,
don't like it.
the migrant worker did say like that the people on the farm were doing weird stuff with the other migrant workers. And so it does seem like maybe they were part of the, cult with the doctor. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. It seems like Matthew's probably correct, and he was trying to finish the job and got interrupted.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, other than the crazy mutilated, half mutated dead bodies that are just littering this area, everything seems fine.
You're like it's check.
I know.
Got it.
I mean,
Now-
this is Deadlands, for crying out loud.
Should we, because I know that he had tried to burn the other barn down, should we burn this down?
Cyrus already has 3 of his 89 matches lit.
You mean 86 matches?
It's right.
Now.
Shit, I did math bad again. No, it's 82. Oh my god, I forgot. I did a
You're
whole
down to
Lumiere
82?
thing
Man,
last
you were
time.
burning through these matches.
Well, I was the light source last session.
That is a
The
good
light
point.
That's
source.
right. That's right.
I was
Which was
Lumiere. I
awesome.
never got to do my
I mean,
lyrical bullshit.
there was I believe there was an entire Nerdbound episode where torches were the most valuable commodity because it was of some puzzle and everyone decided that throwing torches was the best way to solve it. And I was like, but how many torches do you guys actually have? And when they counted them, people were like, oh, fuck, we don't have enough torches.
We're out of torches.
And so they literally were like, I have 1. I only have 2 left. We're like, wait, we only have 3 total? I thought you had your 5. And they're like, it got bananas. And so, yeah, it was such a great, just stupid. It's the dumbest thing that people hand wave. And it was just funny that we decided that day to track it. But, yeah.
And what are
You're
that
82 matches.
not tiny torches?
Yeah. So 82 matches left.
How many would you say I need to light this place up?
Oh, I mean, there's a lantern, and there's probably lantern oil around that you
Spread
could
it
just
all around.
dump. And yeah, you just there's any amount of flammable liquid that you could just throw it around and fucking light it. So I would say, I don't know, 1 match actually, if you really want to be careful
Cyrus
about it.
only needs to use 1, but he chooses to use 3. And he
Okay.
lights.
Yeah, it goes up quick.
All right. This should take a little while. We could watch this burn down. So, let's take get the train packed up a little quicker, right?
We should at least stick around to make sure that nobody tries to run out of the spawn. when
Oh
y'all
yeah,
are
no,
trying
we're
to
good.
act in.
Yeah, we're definitely watching this thing burn.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Maybe step back a little bit. It's getting a little hot.
Would either of you think to? Well, I guess you haven't suggested it, but would either of you think to drag the other bodies in to burn them also and throw them into the
probably
fire?
Yeah, I mean,
would you? I mean, that's work. I'm
Can
not
we
here to
roll
do work.
It's like, no, I would never
purposely
have
left
thought
the
of that.
work.
I mean, I don't know that we would. I
would.
I don't know. Probably, right? Like,
I don't know. I'm asking
What can I-
because
what
neither
can
of
I-
you brought it
what
up,
can I
and I
roll?
thought it would be funny.
I want to
just-
leave this.
I'm
up
not
to
going to
dice.
have consequences for it either way, but let's be real. There's no real consequences. I was just thinking it's funny if you just didn't think like. Maybe
I mean,
we
that's a
should
lot of
burn
bodies. That's a lot of bodies to drag.
We're
They look
riding
heavy.
we're riding halfway back, and we're like, shit, we should have burned the other
Yeah.
bodies.
I mean, this whole thing was to avoid extra physical labor, and I'm going to
That's true.
drag
That's
3
true.
get-
bodies, half a football
we get
field
all
or
the way
whatever.
back. Right? We get
It is
all the way
pretty
back
far.
to the facility. We're going over what we did, and Lester's like, and you burned the other bodies, right?
We just look at each other and it's like, of course, Lester. Why? Of
Yeah.
course.
Why
You know,
wouldn't we? That would be
why would
so
we burn all
stupid
the
not
bodies?
to.
We take this to our grave. Well, you're already in your
Again.
grave, but I'll take it to my grave.
You take it to my grave.
Jacob pulls out both of his pistols.
Oh God.
Much obliged. Okay. Okay. If you don't, that's fine. There's no.
Yeah, we don't.
There's literally just to make people feel better. There's
Yeah.
no, I'm not gonna hang that thread. I just think it's funny not to. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not
I don't-
like fuck that.
wouldn't
You know,
think of it.
but
yeah.
yeah. So you make it back, sort of late afternoon. Most of the work's done, I would say.
Damn it!
And there might be some light stuff left. There's just little stuff that, yeah, and then, yeah.
What took you guys so long? We were starting to get worried.
Oh, you wouldn't believe it, Lester. There was this whole thing. There was bodies. It was. I mean, everything that they said looks like it was
It's
true.
sewn bodies to other bodies.
Oof, my
there was
God,
a
you
big
would've
ring
hated
of
it.
bodies.
Ugh. In your state, in your mental state, you would not have appreciated what we just saw. But don't you worry, we burnt it all down, and it's all good.
What the hell is that
Everybody-
supposed to mean? My
We had to
mental
make
state.
sure that all
Hey,
the
I don't
bodies-
know. I just
Nobody
from,
tried to escape.
Nobody yet. There was no escapees. There was no. It was fine.
Well, I mean, all right. I don't much appreciate you casting dispersions on my current mental state.
It's a dispersions of
I've been
concern.
loading the train all day. Nothing happened. It was fine.
And you've done a fine job with it too. This train looks very well organized.
It looks
Jo-
great.
Jonathan walks by carrying a box, and he's got the kid Matthew with him carrying a box. Oh, good! You're right in time. We've got one room left to pack up, and we're done.
I gotta watch the horses. The horses, we rode them pretty hard. We're gonna get them. Some
I'm really
water before
sore right now in my hindsight and my back, riding for a
Jacob's
couple of
back
hours.
is
I think
hurting
I
him.
might need to stretch it out, take a little bit of a break now.
Yeah.
But you're doing you all doing a fine work.
Your approval really means a lot to me. Let's go, Matthew.
Lester
Takes the box.
squints.
You guys decide you need some horse Reiki, and you may ask, does that mean you give Reiki to the horse, or does the horse give Reiki to you? And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are like, we gotta feed. Like, you can't just load these right on the trailer. They're too stressed out. Like, I'm gonna brush them. We're gonna feed and water them, and then we're gonna make sure they're ready to go. Then we'll load them up, and then we're gonna help that room.
Right. And then we'll
Just
get
need
to the
time.
room. We'll get to it.
Yeah. The rest of the packing gets done. It's evening, or it's actually getting. It's not that. It's I don't know, 5 or 6 o'clock basically. Looks like everything's loaded up and ready to go. If there's anything else that needs done, otherwise the train pulls off, and you have a couple days ride to Denver. Sadie and Matthew go along.
Okay.
I figure Sadie wasn't much help. Anyway,
I mean, I assume she did the packing and we did the moving,
Yeah.
right?
Sure. I mean, she also moved stuff once everything was packed. She was very much lifting, like, she was very much like, I'm doing everything possible to get the fuck out of here. And that did mean actually doing as much work as she physically could. So she did actually work pretty hard at it.
All right, noted. I was concerned about
Matthew
her
as
state.
well.
Yeah.
But no, but she's still very shaken. Like, she's very unnerved and just wants to get out of there. So she's in like flight mode. It's not fight or flight, it's just flight. So she's just trying to get out of there. Yeah, you guys go on the train. She goes into a car There's a car that was for the scientists. There's a car for you guys. Matthew is in one of the rooms in the scientist, or that was supposed to be for the research facility. He stays in one of those cars. And there's not a dining car that's like a serving thing, but there is like the ability to. I'm guessing there's some way to. There's ways to eat rations and probably fresh water and stuff like that. So you have supplies, and I don't remember. I think I said it was like a 2-day train ride, so it's a little ways. Plus, you have to stop for like water and sand or whatever the fuck they needed. Every time I play Railroad Tycoon, I'm like, I need sand. What do trains use sand for? And consume it. But apparently something anyway. Steam engines, or Ghost Rock, I guess at this point, engines, probably have other magical properties. So yes, you go on your way back. I don't know if there's anything if you want to debrief. Otherwise, you make it back. I assume turn in the journal as per usual, and then the next day would have a briefing with Barrett. Is that right? Is it Barrett?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. As per protocol, anything you want to happen out of the ordinary, please jump in.
So just to let you know real quick, steam engine locomotives had a sandbox, which is a container that holds sand, which is dropped on the rail in front of the driving wheels in wet and slippery conditions.
Oh.
Adds traction to the rail.
Like we've learned a lot in
Man.
this.
It's a very
campaign.
educational. Yeah.
This
right?
is both educational and fun. It's really edu. If you think about it, it's edutainment, and we should probably be labeled a private school for it. If you listen to this podcast, you're getting credits
Yeah.
in life.
We'll hand mail you the credit and everything.
Exactly.
It's just
Don't
a
worry,
piece of
it's a-
paper with handwritten 1 edutainment credit.
Yeah. Well, no. All we'll do is we'll create our own cryptocurrency called edutainment credits.
Yeah.
And we'll literally, as people download our podcast and can prove it with some sort of login, then you earn edutainment credits that will be worth a fortune to no one except our hearts. So,
That's beautiful. I like that.
there's no monetary value ever. I promise you, but somehow someone will tweet about it and maybe we make billions. And then I don't know.
You know what? Anytime you run into any one of us, you can turn one of those edutainment credits in for either a hug or a high five.
There you go.
I like it.
Wait, at whose discretion? What if I'm like, I don't want to do the hug? So sorry.
Well,
I think
that's
you
when
can
you
turn
can
in.
substitute for the high five. It's either
Yeah.
or.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking it could be because
It has
I
to be
don't.
consensual.
I'm sorry, I was
going to
go full
all
libertarian.
parties.
I was going to be jokingly libertarian and be like, but since we're each our own sovereign entity, I should be able to dictate you can turn in some number of credits for a hug or a high five or a fist bump, but Neil determines how many edutainment credits it takes for me, and Jesse can have his own. Jim has his own. Maybe one's for you, but I'm not hugging someone for 1 credit. You got to listen to more episodes than that. I think it's at least
We need to see some
5
commitment.
credits for a hug, and that's a quick hug. If you want a 5-second hug, that's 10 credits. You got to listen to me be an asshole. So yes, I think we're gonna launch this, or if someone creates it, give us a wallet with like half of the initial tokens, because it's a brilliant idea and I don't want to actually work for it. So just give us half of your wealth. Anyway, yeah. So, you stop. I don't know. I guess it could be rainy and stuff too, so they use the fan. Anyway, takes 2 days. You get back. Yeah, unless you're doing anything different, we can cut to Barrett's meeting with you.
I mean, I think on the train ride, I mean, I think Lester would try to be like, well, you know, there's these things. They're just trying to like set her at ease a little bit, right? Just to
Sure.
over the course of a
How
couple of
are you
days.
going about it? What is the message they don't exist, or like they're not as bad as you think they are, or don't worry, there's people out there to protect people, and I'm one of them.
Well,
What's
kind of
your
more
message?
that, right? Like, I know you seem pretty upset about, everything that happened. And I know, we both work for the same organization, and you work in the research facility, and we obviously all appreciate that's a thing that you do, but they've got us out on the front lines to deal with things like that you'd never noticed. I mean, you get these reports in, you're doing research on all these different things. What did you think that was for? I mean, this is the state of the world these days, and they got folks like us that go out there and try to deal with that situation.
I just don't. I don't know what you're. I assumed I was researching stuff like Ghost Rock and the things that happened since the great event, and I thought it was still science. I mean, these trains are Ghost Rock powered train. I mean, it's the greatest technology known to man, but all this monster talk was just crazy. And then the doctor, and I thought I knew he seemed like a good man.
I mean, he very well might have started off as a fine doctor, a good man, but when he apparently lost his daughter, I guess maybe drove him a little crazy.
But a little crazy? That's insane.
Well, that's what crazy means, Sadie.
No, that's a lot of crazy. Insane is a lot of crazy.
You're kind of just.
I feel like this is the perfect
accurately.
moment for a reverse, like in classic history, like the man would slap the woman then to like snap her out of it. But I feel like she slaps you. That's like, I know that.
Oh,
I have
what?
a PhD. I know insane means crazy. I mean, it's insane. It's insane to just accept that these things. I mean, let's say that's true. But, like, what can I do to fight those kinds of monsters? I mean, you have those guns, and I work in a laboratory. I didn't even know this stuff was real. I thought that he was talking crazy about some book he'd found and something about curing the world. And I thought, it was probably just some crazy story.
Well, listen
Well,
now. So
yeah.
Johnathan over here started off as a, no offense, Johnathan, a sorry little boy in the cities, and has made his trek out here in search of adventure. And now, the other week, he kicked a Yeti in the Nats. So, I mean, we can all kind of train and do what we can for our parts.
Jonathan's sitting in the train, kind of like in the seat, leaned back, reading one of his books. And he's like, "No offense taken," and he's right. That did happen.
He does like to
goes
kick
back-
things.
He goes back to reading.
Lester, give me a persuasion before Jacob's triggers. Give me a persuasion to see what her demeanor is.
All right. I think we said my persuasion was a
I think it's
D4,
D4.
if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken. Yeah. It's a 5 on the D6.
Okay. She seems a little more at ease, and she is more like, "Is that true?" Whenever you sort of jump in, Jacob. And so I'm going to say, give me a persuasion. Wait. So what's your goal? You're trying to tell her, like, this, you're like, he started out like, from the city, and now he's like fighting terrible things.
Exactly.
That's your message?
Lester's whole goal was kind of like, hey, this stuff really does exist. And then
Sure.
mine was, and then I was like, well, it does exist, and you aren't helpless. Like,
Sure.
you could do something if you want.
Do you have persuasion?
I have a D4 in it.
Or inspire, or leadership, or...
No, I have persuasion. So
Okay, I'll do that, but you
I
get
have
a
persuasion
plus...
and intimidation.
I'm going to say +4, though, because Johnathan is helping by being like, no, he's agreeing. So he's supporting, but then she had a
Right,
+1 or +2 demeanor from Lester. So
Well, that
Should be
is a 9 then.
Nice.
Nice.
okay. she takes a minute, pauses, and kind of like straightens her. She's still wearing a dress. I don't know. It's fucking 1800s, so I guess that's how it would be. And then she's kind of like, "You're right. I mean, I can use my mind to help figure. If I had believed the doctor, maybe I could have seen that it was evil to start. You're right.
John-
I'm going to keep working, and I'm not going to be afraid anymore. And and plus, I guess if that since the doctor's gone, I mean, maybe they'd let me lead the project. I have firsthand experience now."
Johnathan takes his book. He tucks it back into the satchel he carries. And he pulls out his personal journal, and he walks over, and he's flipping through some pages. Puts the bookmark in it, and hands it to her opened. It's
Okay.
"You're a researcher. Take these notes." And he hands her, and he's got pages in the back where he has listed all of the crazy stuff that they have dealt with, all the monsters, and then.
Okay.
This was an ineffective tactic.
Mhm.
This worked.
Oh.
Comma.
Yeah.
He's got parentheses, kicking the nads, question mark. And a couple of
Very
them check mark
scientific.
beside them.
Yeah.
She's she nods, and then she literally pulls a pen out of her hair and then just starts scribbling furiously, documenting very neatly though. It's frenetic writing, but neat. She's very fastidious, and she starts writing all of what she knows about the experience, and starts trying to help document what she knows, plus any relevant information of artifacts or things that are in your shipment or that they have researched. They have researched other things, or they also do research technologies. For example, the Hellstrom Industries, who makes most of the crazy weird tech, quote unquote, right? They have stuff that no one knows about, even the government. And so obviously they also are out to try to get as much of that sort of super technology, super science as they can. It's just the government doesn't necessarily have the top-notch equipment at this point. There are corporations and independent lunatics, I'm sure, who are experimenting in ways that are, paying off, right? So they still want that technology too. So it's just not all supernatural, I guess. She also starts documenting anything that might be useful for you as a resource type thing.
Yeah, Johnathan, he kind of starts to walk back to where he was sitting, and he pulls his the book out that he was reading. And he's as he's taking notes, he'll look back and he's like, and if you have anything, that might be useful in the field, feel free to jot it down.
Yeah, so she's like, I think there's a few things that might be interesting, but I want to make sure they work first, or at least we know how they work. So it's kind of an asset that you can discover later. We'll figure out later.
Nice.
There may be some artifacts that you have access to when you need them for a mission.
Everybody making fun of Johnathan writing notes.
So she's significantly calmed down. Matthew has not really come out of his bunk. And yeah. You pull in to the station, blah, blah, blah. Stuff starts getting unloaded. Sadie thanks everybody. Matthew thanks everybody and kind of looks sheepish a bit until Sadie's like, well, come on. And he's like, sure. And she's like, well, I need an assistant. Get some of these boxes. And he sort of smiles and starts picking up boxes on the way. Or he picks up a crate on the way, small one, and starts walking in. So yeah, you get the impression hopefully she can get him a job. And he is now likely an employee of the research facility that is underground under the the agency headquarters in Denver. So
Yeah, I mean, he showed good initiative. He tried to burn all the monsters. He's got some first-hand experience.
And his instincts were on. They were right on.
yeah,
He can list us as contacts.
yeah.
References.
Yeah. If you ever need a reference letter, you know where to go.
Then the fucking it's not the lieutenant. Well, I guess the lieutenant maybe also, but the Colonel White will be like, get its application and sees references, and he's like, fuck that! These guys cause too many problems. They're a thorn in my side every fucking week.
This worked
Everyone else
against
just
you,
goes
son.
and kills monsters. These fuckers run into a death cult with fucking mutant reborn shit. Fuck, what? Just go fight a vampire, for Christ's sake. We understand those. Yeah, no. So, it looks like likely she hopefully will have him on board, or at least she can help him out. And likely will be part of it. She will still be part of the team, in the agency. And hopefully, Matthew will as well. You turn the notes in your normal journal, whatever, cut to the next day with Barrett, unless anyone else wants to do anything else.
No.
No, I'm good.
He walks in. You're in not his office. You're in like it's a nicer office, like a room probably that like the Colonel meets in. So really, nicer, comfy chairs. There's a really nice bottle of whiskey with glasses poured already. When you come and sit in, he's not in the room yet. You sit down, he walks in after a few minutes, and it's like, God damn, boys, that was some fine work.
Oh, yeah, good. Good. Yeah.
He pulls the chair. He pulls out the chair. Sits down and is like, "Man, I felt a little guilty. I'll be honest. I thought, wow, we're sitting him out on this. That was not the intention of the punishment mission. So I just want to say thank you all for taking care of what could have been I read your briefing, and what could be some truly horrifying."
I mean, I
creatures just beset upon our community, and so I just want to say congratulations. You've done us a fine service today. And he holds up the glasses like, cheers.
Lester cheers, and then he says, well, I gotta be honest, that kid Matthew, he took care of a good part of that with the cultists in the house. He tried to burn the barn down. I mean, some of it we didn't actually have to attend to, but that basement that didn't exist, and the doctor with no skin, and the tentacles, and the... Well, I tell you, it was something to see.
I have to say, I saw some things, but I was promoted, obviously, quite before any of these things were commonplace. So, what was it like? Man to man. Like,
it was fucking terrifying. Let me tell you.
He just bursts out laughing and was like, I can only imagine. I mean, I've stared down the barrel of a gun before, but I can't imagine a gun held by some skinless man with tentacle arms coming out of... God damn! And he slams the drink and he's like, I like you boys. I want to say thank you for fine work. You got our assets here as well. Sadie is going to be a powerful asset in our research facility. Between you and me, the scientists can be a little stuffy. They don't always see the magic in the world, if you will. And so I think Sadie will be quite persuasive in convincing them that you're facing some things that might need a more open mind than normal. So I appreciate everything you boys have done. And so here's what I got on the table as an offer. Have another round. He pours another round, and this is a very expensive bottle of whiskey. You get it's not Rockefeller level, but like a really nice everyday a nice bottle. And so
Does it look like it came with the room?
Maybe it could. Sure, that's actually better. But yeah, you're here now. And he's like, yeah, I mean, it's hard to get him to buy into it sometimes, but so here's what we got. Most people don't make it a month, and you four have done a bang up job, salvaged a lot of pretty terrible situations. So good news, you're promoted.
What
Consider
exactly?
yourselves
Early release already?
Consider yourselves corporals. And then he slides a $20 bill to everybody. And then says, here's the best part. You get 4 weeks R&R. Decompress, come back good as new or better, and I hope better. You'll have our facilities at your disposal. And after that, you four get inaugurated as your own independent posse. You'll operate at your own discretion. You don't have to answer to me anymore. And if you have any preference on territories, you just let me know. I'm happy to have someone debrief you on the opportunity, so to speak. But yeah, we like to give the agents some autonomy, figure out where they're going to do the most good. But here's the deal. It's getting dark out there, gentlemen. The light's getting pretty low in some places. People are scared. So it's up to you to go out there, make sure they know someone's out there looking after them. And we're going to get them. We're going to fight these monsters back. We're going to get them.
Johnathan,
We're going to make them safe again. Sorry, I get a little twangy when I'm drunk. I don't usually drink 2 or 3 shots of whiskey at 11. So anyway, gentlemen, but yes, you've done a great job, and from now on, it comes with a pay increase, and at the end of that month, you'll have another fresh $25. And in the meantime, think about this. As an independent team, we don't have unlimited resources, but let us know what kind of starting gear you want to put together. Horses, wagon, you name it, anything reasonable. And if anything's unreasonable, I guess ask that too, but I can't make any guarantees. But we'll give you enough to get set up, and then it's up to you. Then you have to just make this place a little less scary for everyone.
Well, if I may speak, if we have a choice of places where we might be going, I have some unsettled business still around here. If there's, if we could stay in this territory, I don't know if you found any information to share with me. We haven't had a whole lot of downtime for me to do any nosing around. I certainly haven't heard anything in the faraway places that we've been at so far.
Sure. Talk to Larry in the archive department. He has some information that might be of use, but you might have to do a little digging. It's boring stuff, but hey, if you're interested,
Well, I guess we got some time coming to us, so I guess I know what I'll be doing.
All right. Anyone else?
I'm good with that, but perhaps as a first assignment for the newly minted researcher, maybe we could get some of her services to help if we're going to be looking for answers before we go out.
Of course. Yeah, anything you're interested in, you'll have her full support.
Just kind of look at Lester and kind of, there you go.
Yeah, Lester runs the finger along the brim of the hat.
Yeah, if no one else has preferences they're going to say in the meetings, you'll be like, all right, gentlemen, well, the rest of the bottle's yours, and I'll see you in... It's a little over 4 weeks. Yeah, it'll be like a little over 4 weeks. But he's like, I'll see you in a month. Don't get in too much trouble in the meantime. And then takes a little last sip of the whiskey and walks out.
Well,
It,
that
like
went a
leaves
lot
us
better.
in this room.
He leaves you in there.
Okay.
That went better than I would have expected.
Getting into trouble.
I mean, you're an official agency posse.
How much
did
trouble?
Did we do it?
I guess so. We made it. He said most people don't even last a month. You believe that shit? They held that whole meeting. They
Right, the
give
whole
everybody
fucking-
drinks, send everybody out, and say, well, shit, you guys made it. You must be okay. What the hell is that?
Are all those
Well-
people dead?
I mean, they could have run off too, gotten scared, given up halfway through.
Well, he didn't say all of them died. He just said 50% don't make it or more.
And
I think most of
I-
those
I
people
will-
Don't make
I
it
will
could
say
mean a
too-
lot of things, Cyrus.
to be fair, one of us didn't technically make it all the way to the end.
Ooh.
So
Ooh, yeah, Lester like looks away and like just takes a sip of
I don't know,
he,
man.
he
You're
ain't, he
here.
ain't got to know that, but
You're here, though. You know. So I mean, you made it in your own way.
Are we
My
going to
own
have
way,
to get
yeah.
a wagon for him? I don't think the horses like him very much.
well, you know
Right.
what? I don't much like the horses either. So
Well, I'm not casting any dispersions. I just making an observation.
That one you rode today didn't seem to mind you too much. Or yesterday, or when the hell did we? I'm sorry, I've been drinking.
At this point, I think it's pretty well earned.
Yeah.
well,
So
Lester,
you're
personally,
basically
I feel
off.
okay, kind of hanging around a little bit and helping you out with whatever you unfinished business you have around here.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't know if this is something that we'll be able to bring to any sort of a satisfactory conclusion, but you know, I have my ear to the ground and all.
Well, you got a team that has your back, so
Well, I appreciate that, Cyrus. That means a lot.
raises the glass.
I reach over and tink your glass.
Got one. Tink.
Well, Jonathan, how you planning on spending your free time? You gonna write your own book, maybe?
I don't know. He kind of like runs his hand over his satchel. You know, for a long time, I think it was naivety that brought me out here, and I'm curious to who these authors actually were. So I think I might spend some time trying to see if any of them are still out here or if they ever were.
Not a bad idea.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm thinking, so yeah, just so people know outside of character, mechanically, we talked before the show to talk about like They're going to get, so this is the advance between, I said last time they got an advance and would go to season, but we sort of rolled those quote back a little bit and cheated. So we're going to narratively say over the course of the month, what they're doing to get whatever they chose for their transition to the season, because that's the big power jump, right? And so you get like some super great skill or edge or whatever, or whatever else you're going to use. But I also want to do a little other narrative sort of side quests, social roles of, not combat stuff that you're working on, and then the opportunity to kind of get a D4 in something you're not, that you don't have. And so, yeah, my thought would be maybe something like a knowledge. It's not really common knowledge, but it would be, I guess, like, I was thinking like agents. It would be a contact, essentially. Like, you now know the name of, you found one connection currently. I guess that's the thing. If for a D4, you have one connection that you could contact, and it would be like an agent who wrote something about some mission you're on and is still alive for you to track down and get information from. So I would say like you can use it as like a contact once per, I don't know, whatever.
Right. Got it.
Figure it out. Would be kind of cool. I don't know. Does anyone?
Yeah, well, that's cool.
I don't know how contacts work because I didn't want to look that up in core.
There is a thing in the book for it.
Yep.
Well, we'll roll it that way, but it's probably a D whatever. So it's probably a D4 in contacts then, but anyway, we'll figure it out.
It says contacts provide aid or other favors once per session.
Oh, connections.
There's a social edge for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's connections. Yeah.
Or it could be anything you want it to be, right? Like if we're doing it as a side sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like an edge is a lot to give for that. Maybe just common knowledge agency, or that way if you need, like, you could always do a roll and try to justify how you're using agency to get a piece of knowledge. Yeah, you work through your contacts. Let's make it instead of connection. You can kind of use the official process to track down information if you needed to, but it would have to be like a telegram to somebody. They're not going to like show up or
Yeah.
get you something. You can ask something from, and then whether they know or not is based on your role. So like we'll just do common knowledge, sort of like agency knowledge or whatever. I guess it would be a cult maybe, but if that's what you wanted to focus on. But I like a generic knowledge of like you can just track down someone who might know something.
Like the bureaucracy skill in Delta Green.
Yeah.
Essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. So I like that. Lester's looking into his wife's death. Yeah, I think you meet Larry, the archivist. You tell him your story, I assume?
Yeah. I guess I probably tell him the whole thing.
Okay. He's like, interesting. Okay. Wait, Texas?
Yeah, I had come back I had to go to town when I came back, and she wasn't in the house, and, I went looking around, and she was out in the back, but, I mean, and, but she had the, like a little board on her.
And he just walks away.
He just kind of, kind of like tries to like adjust himself and like not like he was.
Yeah, he goes through and he finds a report of someone. He's like, this report right here shows. Look, someone says they found someone and they were hanged, and then it says they had a note pinned to them that says Texas.
Let me see that, and he pulls it out of his hand. He pulls out a pair of glasses that nobody knew he ever wore, puts them on just the bridge of his nose.
It does describe a series of. There were tales of a series of hangings that seemed strange, or like someone might have been murdering people in a geographically connectable space. That then they found notes pinned to them, and there was all sorts of reasons, quote unquote, that people claimed they saw. There was no evidence, but the agent who investigated this, one victim, the one he actually came across, did have a note, and it also said Texas. And he's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like all the other ones, the rumors were it would be like murder or rape or stealing or whatever. And so he's like, that doesn't make any sense. And so the guy said, I'm pretty sure there's other records here that we could connect to this man's travels, but everything's not well organized, and we're going to have to make a lot of connections between things. So if you're willing to help, yeah, I think we can probably dig into some more.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it would take, it doesn't seem to make any sort of connection. She didn't have any enemies. Why would somebody pin Texas? It doesn't even make any sense. What is that?
I don't know. But here's how our filing system works. It's color-coded. Here are the numbers. And he basically explains, like, there are references. So they have, like, this weird cross-referencing system. So he's like, oh, if you see a cross-reference to, like, this class of monster, then we also can figure out where things are. So, like, they have this really crazy, insane organization system. And he's explaining all of it to you. He doesn't care at all what you're asking. Because he's like, I don't know. That seems weird, right? But he's just like, here's how we can find the information. Let's find it. And so he's just like, here's how you do it. And then he starts being like, see, I'll show you. Then he goes and gets another file. And then that file is a file of that. He's like, so we can put him together. And then he starts building a Charlie murder board. Of like where the guy went and then other people. And so he's trying to put together, and he's like, there's always a story, but you know, no one ever asks me what the story is. And it's just not fun if I'm doing it myself just for no reason. I mean,
Well, I mean, it seems to me that they should be asking you a lot more questions. Seems like you're just a font of information.
well, I mean, I read all of these archives. I do have this filing system, but most people just want to go out and shoot things. So far be it from me. And then he starts going back to business. But it is very slow. Like, it's a very intricate system he's created, and it's this weird thing that. So yeah, you're basically learning how to do research in the archives, and so yeah, you can get a research D4.
Sweet.
What are Cyrus and Jacob doing during the month?
Well, I was just figuring that Jacob would probably do a lot of carousing. You know, he's been morally locked up for a while, right?
Okay.
And this is his chance to kind of get back into the swing of things. He had a fairly exciting life beforehand. You know, he's not going to necessarily go full bore back into his previous way of life.
Okay.
But, you know, doing some gambling, doing some drinking, maybe getting into a fist fight every once in a while. You know.
Okay.
Nothing that'll get him put in jail or kicked out of the organization, but, you know.
Yeah. You basically raise some hell throughout Denver a little bit, but not out of hand. Not just more than boys being boys.
Yeah.
Ugh. That's a
Also,
gross
maybe
statement.
looking to get back some of that money that he lost from what was that asshole's name? Bertram.
Oh, Bertrand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You can. Yeah. You generally are partying, gambling, whatever, as long as it's not enough to get you more than just horsing off. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, I give you D4 in carousing for that, and yeah. Cyrus, what are you focusing on?
Cyrus would like. I mean, he'd probably. I don't know. I mean, he'd probably be going out, just drinking. I mean, he's comfortable in a fight, so he'd probably find as many fights as he can find, whether he starts them or otherwise. So he's,
Okay.
you know.
I mean, I would
Sounds
say
like
he
we're kind of
probably-
hanging out in the same circles right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I mean, Cyrus actually would try not to spend too much time alone. You know, so like if Jacob's out doing that thing, I mean, he'd probably be like right next to him. Like,
Yeah,
you know?
I feel like you're like, well, yeah, I feel like maybe you're the guy who's like, I'm not here to fight, but then every time he picks a fight, you're
Yeah.
like, well, I gotta back him up. Like,
Yeah,
this is what he does.
I'm
And you're
not
just like,
starting too many fights. I'm more just kind of like, all right, trying to find one that starts, and then I'm in.
Well, if you
Sure.
hang around Jacob, you're definitely going to find yourself near some fights. So
Yeah, that's kind of what that's. Yeah, I don't. Numb, you know. He likes to be numb, so that's
Yeah.
you know. So there's not a lot of like facing any internal struggles with him.
sure.
So it's
So you're gonna do carousing, I'm guessing.
yeah. What is carousing?
It's a made-up skill that we're making up. That's just
Oh,
generally a social skill that involves you having to somehow narrate that you're doing it by drinking and partying and not persuasion. So it's just a
Okay.
fun.
Nice.
yeah.
I just
I'll
like-
take it.
I think we can add narrative things outside the normal system, and that doesn't feel like it's throwing off the balance of the game too much. So
Yeah. Okay. So carousing at a D4.
yeah.
That's
So anytime you want to party to get information or to persuade someone of something, but it has to involve getting drunk and being like, "Yeah, we're friends," right?
Gotcha. Okay.
That's so yeah. So that's what you guys are doing. You get your advancements. Everyone, I think, has talked about those. So actually, if you want to talk about what you're taking and what, I guess Jesse, you don't have to necessarily.
Oh, I'd love to.
but-
If you want to save me towards the end, I'll be okay with that.
Okay, so yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so the goal would be like, what are you doing in that meantime to get? So like part of Cyrus, I assume, is the fighting, and I don't know. Are you taking like Bruiser or Frenzy or?
Well, I took. Well, yeah. So from that conversation in the beginning, like
Yep.
I took the brawler because I was behind one.
Yep,
But
yep.
that
So then you'd get another.
Yeah. So that frenzy seemed to make sense, and the whole
Sure.
thing around that was like, it's kind of like a little bit of a.
Oh, you're just like pent up because you're not dealing with shit. So now you go into
Yeah.
these
So what
flowy
happens
regions
is,
that-
one of these one of these nights, I run into someone who like knew me from the maze days.
Oh, okay.
And he just tunes me up, and yeah. So I think like, you know, I try to escape from all of that, but there's like one particular night where this guy, you know, from my past, so it tunes me up, and he likes, and he's, I don't know. I'm trying to make it like character sheet and like a quick, like I'm trying to make it make sense here. He basically like takes my brass knuckles and, you know, like, you know,
Oh.
spits on me like, you don't need these fucking things, like, you know, and kind of like leaves me just kind of bleeding and, you know, dazed on the ground in some bar
okay.
fight. And the reason why I'm doing that is because like my fists have the same damage now as brass knuckles, so it's like
Okay.
it just kind of like flips a switch, and then that's the whole frenzy thing. So now I get
Sure.
the benefit, if that makes sense.
I guess we could do two ways. I think one could be maybe he is beating you in the fight, like, and then like knocks you down and takes the brass knuckles and throws them as like, I'm like, at least fight me like a man or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And then you
Okay.
get up and are
That's
like,
better.
I'm gonna fucking
Yeah.
beat the fuck out of you. Or, I guess the alternative is he actually, beats the actual shit out of you, and then you're like, like, I'm gonna you come back X-rays. But I kind of thought
Actually, no,
like,
I
he just
kind of
gets
like
the
that
best
better.
of you, and then you're like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna like, no, you made a mistake. Now, like, you're right, I don't need these. And
Yeah,
then you
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, and then he starts really getting waylaid.
Yeah.
I can imagine he's like, fight me like a fucking man, and like that's like the switch that goes off in your
Yeah.
brain.
You're
You
like,
just jump up and just start fucking pounding them. Like,
Yeah. So then you just like wail on him, and so
Yeah.
now you have this like, once you the first time of a fight, you get like, you're just like whap whap. So yeah,
All
I think that
I
makes
like
sense.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better. All right, so now I'll add that on there then. The frenzy.
Yep.
Okay, we did it.
Johnathan, what were you taking as your upgrade, whatever the actual advance is? Oh, you're muted.
You're
You're muted.
muted.
Yeah, you're supposed to read my lips because I'm being all spiritual and stuff.
This is a podcast, man.
Martial, I'm gonna do martial warrior.
Ooh,
It's
okay.
just kind of the next step after with the.
What's that do mechanically?
That
you have it up?
I did have. Give me 1 second.
While you're looking it up, if I can throw something out to you, see if you want to work this into your narrative. So the thing that I'm going for is combat reflexes. So I'm going to be half the time spent out like monster hunting, but like close to Denver. So is that something you want to work in? Like we fucking tag team up and you're hone your skills. Like we're both honing our skills.
Yeah, like maybe you guys go out as a duo, and like literally, like you go out and you're like killing, like, oh, there's a vampire, we think, eating cattle. And also, let's say you're doing also local sort of missions. So, like, not necessarily agency tied big stuff. Like, you're just someone's like, oh, I think you're just general heroing of like,
tree.
yeah, you're saving the cat. You're out like just highway to heavening people. I don't know, whatever.
Picking up trash.
Right.
Yeah.
So
But I think you're basically supernaturally. You're supernatural. You're going out, but you're fighting the things that are like, hey, there's a vampire, and maybe you're doing it even for like bounty hunting, right? Like, these monsters are actually wanted criminals or whatever, and
Yeah, martial warrior is the season trait. Increases the fighting bonus to a +2, and then the damage die goes up an additional step.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty good.
So we're like the way I picture, we're going out, and because you said you were taking combat reflexes.
Combat reflexes, yeah. I feel like, one night, like you're coming out of the bar after watching these two guys get into a fight, and I'm just like walking like out of town, right? Like edge of town. You're like, where the fuck are you going? like you can't go by yourself. You're like, fine, I'm just gonna go with you. Like,
Yeah. So we had a month, like downtime. Like
I mean, you
now
find
and
some
then.
vampires, like low-level
Right.
vampires, a couple like mummies or zombies or witches or whoever, right? There's some general bad creatures, even just like, there's. I mean, I don't know how dangerous jackalopes are, but those exist for some reason.
If we do, I want to mount one of those in whatever,
Maybe
like
a
place.
devil. You could fight a devil bat that might be out. So like that's something you might run into. So yeah, you're just out sort of busting ghosts. And that lets you. Yeah, you're starting like it's. I feel I kind of picture like Johnathan is already pretty well trained, so he's like fighting things really badass, and then like now instead of times when you would be like, I have to save Lester, like Lester's almost going to get hit, and right before you're about to help him, he like dodges and is like, "No, I'm getting the hang of it," and then like goes back in. So,
I picture Johnathan like you see him in the morning, like he'll get up, he does his stuff, he'll like take his jacket off, he'll vest his shirt, he'll hang it up somewhere, and he just goes through his practice. And as you watch it, he'd be like, "Hey," start asking questions, right? Like, "All right, well here, dodge this."
Yeah, I was when you started. That's what I was gonna say. Like you're like, "Hey, stop this punch!" Right, and you're just like, "Boop," and he misses it. Boop. Right, like because it's like the combat reflexes is you get a +2 to shaken or stunned rolls. So it's like Johnathan slapping me, right? Because you get that like sort of stun.
And then instead of the stun, then you start doing the like counter moves. Like
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So other than that, I think narratively, you guys go through a month raising hell and then trying to seal that portal back. And then, doing what you do. You find out Sadie was she is in charge of a research division. So the doctor's job. The Matthew is working right now as as an assistant, like a research assistant, just documenting and stuff. He could become an agent, but he hasn't really expressed. He's just like, I will take this job. So he's still there, but not really an agent yet or anything. And you guys found out that information. In the meantime, Barrett wants to know sort of what you think you need to requisition. I mean, you can't be like, I need a machine gun, but like, what do you want to take with you as your provision? Like, you're now on your own. Obviously, you can requisition stuff, but like, you have to tell them what you need.
Oof.
And I don't remember. I think 2 of you have your own horses, but 3 of you have your own horses.
Cyrus,
Well,
I do.
I believe just to get ourselves basically set up, a wagon, maybe a handful of tents would be nice. Something a little roomy so we don't have to crouch down all the time. And just the basics of getting up there and getting out.
Do you want this is all just logistics? You want the 2 horses that they currently have? Do you want a wagon with like 2 horses a wagon, or like a wagon with like 1 horse wagon cart and then another horse? How do you want this set up? Do you want a bigger cart that you could haul stuff in, and that would be like 2 horses?
Yeah, we probably want that. We don't want to carry stuff.
And you and Johnathan would ride on that. I'm just saying this for narrative purposes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sure.
/ combat purposes.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Well, I have riding.
I think you had a horse, didn't? Or no, you came in off the train, right?
Right. Yeah. I had to borrow a horse the last time we.
Yeah. So you would have to you'd essentially get a requisition but I would say you want like a covered wagon, not like a stagecoach.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So if you had a covered wagon, two. I'd say 2 horses in a small wagon, not like a giant Conestoga that needed like the oxen or whatever. Like,
oh right, yeah, absolutely.
Like, you can have the horses, whatever, but like it's a big enough cart to hold. You and Johnathan can sit on it easily, and you have plenty of room for supplies. You can get tents. That's fine. How many days of rations do you typically want to take with you?
I guess would it depend on where we were going, right? Like if it takes 3 days to get somewhere, we might take a week, right? If we were going to a town and then
Plus, we can
pick
do
up
like
rations there.
We can do like hunting along the way and all that kind of stuff too.
Oh,
right?
so
like,
part of this is also you could, I guess, request this to be sent or requisition it there ahead of time. But like if you're going to a Dodge City, for example, you'd probably take a train and then get your supplies. But then if you have horses, that's the question. You're going to have to ride. You might need to actually take carts if you want to keep your horses with you, unless you took them on the train, I guess.
I think they used to put horses on trains, right? Like a separate car,
Probably
you'd have to
do,
pay a fee for that.
Okay. Well, you could take your horses, and they'll give you all that stuff. But if you want to go to a town, you probably want it waiting for you and not traveling in the wagons. Then, right? Is that
If
the
we
goal?
were going far, I guess. Yeah. Right.
Well, that's the question. I don't know where. Like, if you want to do like a small, there's a couple options for in this area. I guess I would pursue that in character if you had questions about like what the priorities were.
Well, I mean, just as far as other gear, you'd probably
But other
rope,
gear, yes.
lanterns, or 2 lanterns
Sure.
or whatever, right?
Sure.
Oil, rations. Would we want like manacles and things? Like, we're probably not capturing monsters, right? Like, we're gonna kill stuff, right?
No, it's
I
your
mean-
team now.
But sometimes there are people.
Yeah, I mean, we could, 2-3 pairs of manacles, I guess. More notebooks for Johnathan,
Sure.
pencils.
Yep.
Um,
All totally available. Yep.
like, can we like requisition changes of clothes, or is that more like you could just go out and buy a new shirt?
No, yeah, I guess, yeah, there's no real uniforms. So, yeah, they're like, well, if you want a uniform, you could
Yeah.
get like a, but no, yeah, I guess they would just like buy your own clothes if you want clothes.
Yeah.
Which, again, a log, you can buy as many sets of new clothes as you want.
Yeah.
And it might help you with those, if you want to get fancy clothes, for instance, that would help you look fancy if you needed. Or whatever, right? If you're trying to go incognito.
Yeah, Jonathan definitely needs a new suit.
Yeah.
Because a suit or a fancy dress is $15, for example.
Oof.
That's a lot of money. A winter coat's $15. A shirt's $3. So, like, if you wanted a shirt and that's a dress shirt. Sorry, a work shirt is $1. If you wanted like, that and pants, I guess, that's probably gonna be another $1. And then yeah.
I'd have to go through the book. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, basics.
We don't have to like
Yeah.
belabor that, but in general, like look through the book though, and let me know what things you might be interested in. Just so I want to kind of try to keep track of that as like a metagame thing, as like just narratively, what do you have on you when we run into crazy shit? But yeah, in the meantime, you would have the opportunity to figure out where you want to go within the territory.
Okay.
And so there's like, out of character, I guess. In general, there's Bleeding, Kansas, Dodge City, the Badlands, and Helena, Montana are the major areas. The Badlands and Dodge City are the most fear level. In the most need, everywhere outside of that's a 3. Basically, other than Denver, it's a 2. So,
In the research that I did over the course of the month, did there seem to be a particular cluster of where some of those cases met? Right, like if it was closer to Dodge City, like Leicester would be for Dodge City, but
sure.
Or wherever, right? Like that's.
I would
Helena
think
or
Dodge.
whatever.
I would say sure. Dodge City is. There have been the only place in this territory currently that you have a record of that occurring is in Dodge City. But there is a case there of a couple people who were hanged with various notes pinned to them.
All right, do we want to do that in character then? Or are we with him, or we're just having a conversation?
I mean, we don't have to do it. It depends. Do you want to do it in character? We can, but
I mean, we can. I was just asking a question. I didn't know if you wanted to.
you just said like, did I discover it? So I'd say yeah. I think sure. Let's just hand wave that particular part because I don't have to make up too many details right on the spot.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
So yeah, let's just say yeah. You find out there are references. So it's probably a good idea to like talk to law enforcement there or whatever. They might. Let's say the current sheriff's wife, current Dodge City sheriff's wife was hung, or brother was hung, and a note was pinned to it that said infidelity.
Well, that's going to be a fun conversation.
Yeah.
Although, technically, does that meet canon? I don't care. If people want to yell at me about
It
interpreting
meets our
rule,
canon.
that's right. I think, technically. Anyway, if,
Yeah,
it's fine. It doesn't matter.
if being from Texas is a crime to them, just about anything can be. So, you know, just say it. So
Yeah.
So Dodge City seems to be a place that would probably be worth checking out to you.
Okay. Yeah, then Lester would be for that.
Okay. I would say we would probably head to Dodge City then, unless there's anything else anyone wanted to do. In the meantime, yes, I think we can in retrospect call out any mundane supplies you may have thought of, but if you pre-think of things. Otherwise, Dodge City is where you'd be headed. I'll give you a little bit of background. Let's just say
I would like to take care of one last thing before we leave town.
Sure. Oh, yep. Go ahead. Go for it.
I don't. Do you want rolls or anything or?
No.
No. All right.
No, you're just narrating what happens.
Yeah. So basically,
Unless I guess you were getting carousing, so you probably should be drinking and partying at some point as part of it.
It's all kind of tied into that. Yep.
Yeah.
And so as one random night while Jacob and Cyrus are kind of hanging out at a bar, doing some gambling, doing a lot of drinking, eventually, maybe get into a little scuffle or two, and he eventually I don't know whether Cyrus is just caught up in the moment or maybe drank too much and is kind of out at the bar. Yeah. So he's like head down at the bar at this point, and that's when Jacob is kind of like out in the back of the place having a cigarette, and he sees Bertrand and his crew leave out their hidden back entrance that he found a few weeks earlier. So he kind of like puts the cigarette out, follows him a little bit, and then he waits till it's like nice little secluded area, kind of like little part off. At that point, comes up behind one of the guys, just trigger to the back of the head, pops him.
Oh my God.
And then
That's the way
takes
you do
the
it.
gun and holds it up to Bertrand's head. But instead of shooting him, reaches down and just like latches his jaws onto Bertrand's neck.
Jesus
and
Christ.
like just rips out a chunk and proceeds to go to town, basically, just mauling him to death.
Okay. And then your guns seem to be
at that point it's the
more
the
glowing
blood,
or more
exactly the blood of all the viscera like seeps in, and the guns turn from like that kind of tarnished gunmetal that they were to like that dark dried black blood color.
Yikes.
Probably fine. Whatever that is.
Probably fine. Awesome. Okay, yeah.
In meta,
Yeah.
Both my weapons
Pretty awesome.
have now become trademark weapons.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Pretty awesome.
Nice.
I mean, it's a pretty baller set of guns, so you know, who can argue with that? Yeah. So Bertram's found dead. While Lester and Johnathan are out, there does seem to be. You notice there was a report of a local guy getting his throat ripped out, and people said it was a coyote, but then the agency was like, I don't know, like your agency contacts were like, sounded like it could have been a vampire to me or whatever. So they're like, I don't know, could have been a monster. But you just was in the, this gambler this local guy was a pretty famous gambler, business guy, got his throat ripped out.
Johnathan, I feel like we dropped the ball on this one. Like maybe, it was right here in town. We should have caught that one.
I mean, I don't think we're going to solve everything.
I guess not, but right here under our noses.
Do you want to look into it more?
I guess we're going to be heading out soon. I don't know. I guess we could, but if we're going to be heading out soon.
Do we know who this group is?
I don't think I played poker with them.
I know. Cyrus, I think, was the only one that would know them.
Because they were in the back room. I don't think they were
Yeah.
at the original table.
Cyrus was in that room. I don't know if he would have known his name. I think he did introduce himself. So, I think Cyrus knows him, but...
I would have forgotten it.
Fair.
It's of no consequence.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if you saw his body or something. But anyway, yeah. But no, yeah, like, I don't think you have
Jacob
to
was
make
with
that
me all
connection.
night, so I don't know what the hell happened to that guy.
Yeah. So...
The two of us got pissed drunk and fell asleep at the bar. I don't know what happened.
It just is odd.
Absolutely
Like,
a
it is...
willing
It's not...
alibi.
it's not uncommon, but it just seems strange that a animal attack would happen, like, outside of the tavern, outside the pub.
And that
like-
the animal would have been wielding a gun and shooting one of the other guys in the back of the head.
Exactly. Well, he accidentally shot him while trying to shoot the coyote.
True, yes, right?
He looked like a coyote.
Yeah.
He's a coyote! Blam!
These he had knives taped all to him.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, like this guy though, he was known.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
rocks the
famous.
town for
Yeah,
sure.
this famous guy. Yeah, he was pretty
Yeah.
well known. Like it might not be front page news, but it was definitely in the news. And
So I just made a note, Jacob eats the gambler.
the eating, I guess, that would be if you wanted to narratively. You don't have to do. I guess you would have to do rolls on that one. If you wanted to find out any more information, it was just suspicious to you.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
just thought it was funny to make a joke that we missed the Jacob killing somebody.
Oh. I didn't know if that was real suspicion or joke suspicion, because you could be like, that might have been Jacob for real.
I think if we suspected that, we would just be like, no, yeah, that's definitely coyote bites right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you guys are ready to fucking get into Dodge. The opposite of get out of Dodge. How are we feeling?
So if we're gonna if this is gonna be like a end of season thing, do we want to, end the session with us leaving to go that way, and then do the Salvage Union and then come back?
Sure. Yeah, if we
New
want to do it.
season.
I mean, otherwise we can keep doing this. We don't have to do Salvage Union, but I would like to for a couple sessions if we don't mind.
I'm
Yeah.
good with that. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do we'll do a season break. Yeah, you guys, assuming at the end of that, you get back together. I mean, I'm sure you've stayed in contact. And then you're back up. You have all your stuff loaded. You got all your gear packed, and the train for Dodge City is loading, or will load that day if you want to do stuff beforehand or whatever.
Okay. Do we know how far Dodge City is? Do we have to take the train?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Let me look. It's pretty far.
Okay, that's fine.
I can't imagine you wouldn't. At least.
Yeah, I didn't know what the relative distances were.
Where's my
If you say it's
map?
far, then
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
far. Yeah.
Oh, that's what I use Roll20 for. is the map. It's almost all I ever use it for.
And I didn't
It's-
log in because we don't ever use it.
I know, me neither. That'll show me. Do I not have it bookmarked? Come on, me. Usually I do. I apologize, listeners. Is it better for me to be quiet so that you don't have to?
No, because I listen to the whole thing. I don't really look. I do truncate silence, but I'm not looking for silence in the thing.
Yeah, I don't see the map on here. Damn me.
It doesn't matter. If it's far, it's far.
Okay, let me look. I have a real map. Like from the actual
seems
time
crazy.
period that I downloaded at one point, which was pretty cool. Where is Denver, Jesus? This is a really hard to read map. Anyway, yes, you'd have to take the train. Let's just
Okay. Yep. Cool.
Yeah. Anything anyone wants to do? Otherwise, you head to Dodge. Takes you a couple, probably 3 days at least, I think. I know I have a map somewhere because I uploaded it.
I mean, it's in the book if you have the PDF.
I do. I just couldn't figure out where it is, like what page it's on. It's
Yeah,
not in
is
the
it-
index. I just loaded the Roll20 one. If it would load, okay. How is it taking 20 seconds to load? What's happening? Okay. It would be. What's the scale on this? Like 200 miles, maybe 250 miles.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
At least, oh no, it's probably like 300 or 400 miles. I could have just Googled that too. Fucking idiot. Anyway,
It's hard when you're
Um,
talking about these fictional cities.
I know, man. It really is like it's hard because I'm like, God, imagine this place, Dodge City. I was also looking getting around. I was trying to figure out how 20 miles an hour is what they go. So let's just say 400. I just goddamn Google it. Denver to Dodge City. It is 390 miles. Let's say 400 miles. So that is 20 hours? Is that right? How bad is my math
Yep.
there?
No, you're on.
So yeah,
Well,
I would
because
say
the train's nonstop, right? I mean, if we were riding, it would take for fucking
I mean, you
ever.
still have to stop to pick up like passengers along the way and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. So I'm
like reload the coal and the sand and everything. So
well. Actually, this does say an express is 40 miles an hour. So you're on the local. It's 20 miles an hour on average.
Yep.
And so, yeah, you can make it in 20 hours there. So
Couple
you
of
can make
days.
it in a
Yeah.
day. Or, yeah, I would say, sure. Yeah, like, yeah, so that's not bad. A stagecoach, riding it would be 30 miles per day. That would take 13 days
Yeah.
Yeah.
versus a day. Yes. So, or probably there's some. They might go overnight. So yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it is just a day on the train, and you would get to Dodge City. So
Yeah, there we
Modern
go.
Marvel.
I know those Ghost Rock trains, baby. I love to ride those rails.
Cool.
What do we think? Do we want to cliffhang there?
I think so. Right? I mean, we don't want to start to get up into some shit in Dodge City and then be like,
Yeah,
hey,
that's
we'll
what I
see you in a while.
I mean, I actually do have a Dodge City plot already in mind, hence I put seed for that in there. So actually, that's not the Dodge City plot. There's a B plot anyway. So yes, like I've already planned for Dodge City, so I have some ideas, but then now we'll sort of go. I'll pepper some other stuff around that you might be interested in. So I'll flesh it out a little more.
Cool.
And in the meantime, I guess spoiler alert is we want to do a demo, one shot of Salvage Union, a futuristic corpo apocalypse. Yeah, so seems like a fun game. We're going to give it a whirl for a session or two.
Yeah, cool.
Cool.
Is there a pre-printed scenario thing that comes with the...
There is. It's actually, I think, based on like this. It's called like the quest system. So you basically get like a mission, go out, do it, and however well you do it, you get rewards, and then you basically come back and have like a week off in game. Like you go back to your salvage station thing and like repair it and do upkeep. So like you go out on salvage missions and then bring back a bunch of shit and are like, okay, let's take a week to like figure this stuff out and like patch stuff up before we go out again, basically. And so it's kind of like a contained thing. So it should be pretty easy to just do it. But it's really cool because like they have like a pretty balanced, it looks to me, mech system where like you have yourself and your piloting skills, and then your mech also has specific traits and attributes that will help you do certain things, in combat, which is cool. So it's a fun narrative. Like you're expected to be able to do both.
Yeah,
Looks cool.
It's definitely like a less crunchy version of Lancer in that respect.
But a crunchier version of Runners.
But yes, nice in between spot.
It's crunchier than something.
Well, so Jesse's core...
I haven't actually read. I'm sorry, I haven't read the rule set. I'm a terrible person.
You don't have to.
well, yeah. So Runners is based on core, and core is not very crunchy.
Okay. I have not played a core game. I don't think ever.
No, we tried to get you on a Cthulhu game a while back.
Oh yeah, I didn't. I wasn't able to do it. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, oh yeah. You want to roll? When do we want me to roll out narrator?
Oh, yeah. I guess we're like half into post show. I don't. You do it now, I guess. I'll have to edit the shit out of this.
Here's. I could just do a joke of like, I forgot I was supposed to cliffhanger. What happened to me? It's a cliffhanger also. Meta. Anyway.
Start up a new voice. Where did the narrator go?
Yeah. I have the worst ones, though, is the problem. Like, I only have the creepy kid thing. Anyway.
Oh, please don't do that one.
Oh, do the creepy kid versus the narrator. Maybe I ate him. Who knows?
Yeah. All right. Do you want me to do it and then jump back?
Yeah, do it.
Or...
Yeah. I'll yeah.
All right.
With a fresh promotion and some newly acquired skills and equipment under the belt, being further heroes for the trained Dodge City. All aboard Let's get that hell into the
Nice.
Tighter, much tighter than the previous. Congratulations, me.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for checking it out. We have our Patreon up, so if you want to throw a couple of bucks our way, you could do that as well. There's early releases, post shows, outtakes, all that kind of stuff. We're on most social media platforms if you want to reach out that way as well. Stop by and say hey. Neil's got his own podcast. What do you got going on over there?
That's right. Is Love Blind podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify primarily, or wherever you catch your podcasts. We covered season 7. The reunion episode dropped this Wednesday. We already have 1 hour and 42 minutes of commentary, and that didn't even make halfway through the episode. There's so much to dish about, guys. I know you're all interested. Anyway, Is Love Blind podcast. Check us out. And if you like it, give us a rating. Also, if you're on Spotify, I do a ludicrous poll pretty much every episode. And you can vote on whether you, think my stupid idea. Engagement's great, guys. That's all.
Very nice.
I wanted to say Johnathan again. Jim's also got a podcast. What you got going on over there, Jim?
The Dapper Meeple. We just released our Halloween episode where we brought the guys from BA Games back and Joseph from Ludimus Games, and we all kind of sat around and talked about our top 3 favorite spooky/Halloween games. So there were some ones I learned about that just are absolutely panic-inducing, so that's good. And then we do have coming up one I think is really cool. One of the guys, there's a guy, he's local here to us. His business is running and helping people run D&D games, Savage Lands, whatever system they want to run. So it's kind of leaning into that paid DM service kind of thing. And he's going to come on and talk to us how that's going. Apparently it's good enough that he quit his job as a teacher, and this is what he does full time.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, I learned about what was the game when you guys talked about? Was it Black Mold?
Yes. Your turn lasts as long as you can hold your breath.
What? This sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
It's a liability. Someone didn't consult an attorney before creating this game.
Jesse's got runners going. We're getting ready to start the 3rd season.
Yeah, we only have a couple of sessions left before the 3rd season starts up, and we tear the whole system down and start over again.
Again, yeah. for the 3rd time, or the 12th time, or the.
Yep.
Cthulhu is out, has been out. Version 3 has not been worked on in forever because I'm a garbage person. But there is a link for all of the current core products that are available on DriveThru. There's a link in the show notes for that as well. Ratings and reviews on iTunes, whatever your podcatcher of choice is, probably helpful. Love us, engage with us, subscribe to all the things.
Or hate us and engage with us. Either way, just fucking engage.
Even better. Everything in the name of spite.
Gotta get that algorithm, baby. Gotta get that algorithm.
I think that's everything. So, yeah. Thanks for checking it out, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.